All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Group Chart Analysis. It is Tuesday. Tuesday, September 18th, 2018. And there's a lot of crazy movements this week so far. There hasn't actually been a lot. It's just been shot up. Like, what's today? Technically, this is Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. So, like, Monday shot up, but then it stayed in that zone where it had previously made a high last week for this whole past day. So, it did finally break down, broke that low that it formed early yesterday morning, early yesterday morning. But I don't know. We're gonna have to see how this all plays out because it's been weird, especially because of how these EMAs are. Like, I don't want to have to go through something like this again. But at the same time, it's very possible that price could consolidate like this shit. So we're gonna have to start prepping. And what I suggest you guys do is start drawing out your supply and demand or support and resistance zones, and then if you have to do supply and demand, do that as well because these are not really doing shit. The 4 hour is just ugly on the EU, and I'm not liking the way it's playing out. What else? The daily, if you guys just see how tight those EMAs here, the EMAs are between the water, the Mayo, and the blueberry. It's between all the EMAs, so it's like there's nothing going on. Weekly, even them are close. Yeah, this is about to get ugly for EU, guys. This might just do the consolidation that it did before. So I'm going to draw out like lows here. Move this, go up to the top there. I'm going to put some here. The high there. I'm going to put some here. It's like a whole zone. The 4 hour. We got some here too. So we got a lot of things coming. It did come up to that resistance zone yesterday. It didn't hit that water or the blueberry yet on the daily or the 4 hour. I still think this thing's going to drop. After that big drop last night, guys, that's kind of set a momentum change because this is still technically below this little point here. So this is still susceptible to being a drop. And that big drop that happened last night is pointing in a direction that's making me believe this thing is going to continue down. And the reason I say that, too, if you guys saw what U-Chief did, U-Chief reversed hard as well. So we'll go over that pair. But I believe that because of how the EMAs are on the higher time frames, how it hasn't broken this level twice now, 3 times, I think that we're about to see this thing tank tonight. Just completely just go all the way back down towards that blueberry and then probably consolidate on it, shoot down again, then come back up and start consolidating. It's going to get really weird. So, like, I'm going to need you guys to do that. Inverse head and shoulders on the 1 day. Hold on. No, so like that's the thing on this. It looks like it, which I completely understand. I think what's happening here, so like from a weekly standpoint, if you guys remember this, how we were calling, well, if you guys were here with me like a year or so ago, we were calling up this trade. I remember calling this trade last October when it finally decided to shoot. What's this? February, September? So hold on. I called a trade. It was in October, so it was around here, how it was going to continue up, form a head and shoulders, and drop. And it did just that. But the thing is, I thought this was going to be left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Now, because it's still below the stationary 50 and there's no divergence and it hasn't hit the oversold zone yet, I have to think that this will eventually continue back down, but there might be some sort of stop hunt high for it to drop still. If you go to the daily, you'll notice how it's consolidating here on the EMAs. The only reason I don't like this for an inverted head and shoulders is because the divergence, it starts back here, but there's no shark fin in the RSI. And that's not a strong indication. Every time I've seen this play out, this has always been a continuation drop. It doesn't pull back. If it does pull back, it's a stop hunt, and it immediately tanks afterwards. Like, I just haven't seen stuff like this happen, especially since it took out that low. So I don't want to say this is an inverted head and shoulders yet, or just at all. But it is divergent to a point where it is letting us know that consolidation is going to be getting ready for this next drop. That's why I'm saying, because this is still a downtrend. This is good. How this pulled back like this on the 4 hour and the 1 hour, that's like a bearish flag. It's an ugly one, or a bearish pendant, if you will, where it's like a channel. Sorry, it's like they're all mixed together. But this here, So we got here to here. That's like the bearish channel I'm seeing. It breaks out of it, comes back, pulls up, and then it eventually tanks again down towards that 15-minute blueberry. But I think this thing's going to be tanking a little bit longer than that. And it's going to go all the way back down to at least this low, just for now. And then from there, possibly down to this low. So that's what we're looking for on EU. That's my presumption. GU, weekly. So it's pulling back. It looks like it seemed to have been going towards the water, but I also did say that it could possibly shoot up and be a wick. As long as this weekly ends at the low, it's still soft. So this thing could still drop. Let's take a look. GBP is a pair that can go between the EMAs and then drop. There is no sign of divergence, but it's getting ready to come back into the what is it? Getting ready to come back down beneath the stationary 50 or back into the volatility band. 4-hour stone wicks. It's been divergent for a minute, so something could be happening soon. The only thing is that if you guys notice that it has not broke this trend line yet. So this trend line is still valid, and my original analysis was this was going to drop, but before it was going to get up to that blueberry. So we might see some differences in some of the pairs tonight because EU is raging, and I know EU and GU sometimes correlate, but sometimes GU can still make its own moves. So we're going to look at the hour here. The hour is divergent as fuck from yesterday. So I'm going to just tell you guys, continue with the trend until it breaks this trend line. So if you wanted my opinion, I think it's going to eventually get ready for a drop, and that's what I'm going to be preparing for. Going up is kind of risky now because if I bought it right now, might be right, but it's at the same time you don't know how long because it is due for a drop. So I'm thinking it's you're just not going to touch it until it decides to break that trend line, which if you guys see where the trend line's out on the hour, it's matching the water. So ideally you're looking for this thing to break the water. If once it breaks the water, it breaks this trend line, we'll then look for a pullback towards that water, and then we'll look for the next drop because it's due. So just be on the lookout for that. If it doesn't present tonight, it's probably going to do it Thursday because today is midweek reversal. So just be ready. If it doesn't happen tonight, it'll be a stop hunt high, and then they'll tank it because GBP pairs like to throw divergent M's. They like to throw random patterns. So well, not random patterns, but the divergent M's will go up and go higher, form a new peak, but it will still tank. You just got to be really careful on that. AUD, so during the news yesterday, it did shoot down. No, it was on the 15-minute. Where was it? It was right here. It was going up. We had it going for a buy because we had it on. We were presuming that the certain pairs were going to keep rising, which they did. People took profit here, and it ultimately continued up, which it did technically make a new high. This is the high right here. You can clearly see it's higher than that. So what we're going to have to do, let me see this daily. Daily's still beneath. Looks like it could go up towards that water. That inverted head and shoulders, look like it's paying off. It's shark fitting back into the volatility bands, meaning it could go up to that catch up, which is the water in the daily. 4-hour, looks like it could be a little consolidation zone. Because it did make a new high. So if anything, you guys are just waiting. So if this is the midweek reversal, if it drops down towards that water or Mayo tonight, ideally from that higher time frame, we're going to want to look for this thing to take a shot up. Because it is still due, or let's see, because it looks like it could be still tanking. I don't know. It still looks like it could hit that the daily water. But we're going to have to pay really close attention. It just, unless it does some shit like this. So look, this is what you need to look at. See how it didn't even go to the stationary 50, but it threw those patterns? We're going to have to wait for the same shit. So right now, hold off on AU. It's not a good time to enter on it yet because this could still technically just go whoop and go up a little bit. Or it could easily just, consolidate and really do nothing and just go in between the EMAs. So I would just wait. We'll check it out there later tonight. But it's just the last couple of days I haven't been liking the pairs. Gold, this is another reason EMAs are really tight. No trend on gold. It's why I didn't fucking take a look at it yesterday. But it still looks like it could be a buy, but at the same time, it's getting close to that trend line. it's testing the trend line as we speak. Let me actually fix it a little bit. If it breaks that trend line below, you guys know what to do. You're looking for a retest and a drop. But as of right now, I wouldn't touch gold either. Gold is consolidating like a motherfucker. It is in the middle. Like these EMAs literally cannot get any tighter. Like I really don't think they could. So just avoid gold tonight. U-Chief shot up doing reversal. This is the 1 hour water. It's retesting. So this is a nice play right now. Every time it went above the water, it always rose up the next day. So we're going to be looking for this thing to shoot up towards that Mayo again tonight, guys. Look for a possible retest. Come down one more time, and then you look for that nice shot up. All right, so just wait for it, and we'll be looking for buys on U-Chief. UCAD, we drew up these trend lines. Either it was going to hold the trend line or it was going to go back up. So what time is it right now? If you guys remember, we were watching UCAD actually make its move yesterday, and that it was we were either going to play it for a sell or wait for it to drop down, then rebuy it. And I think here it broke the trend lines that we had drawn. If it broke this trend line, it'll come back and then break this trend line. But it seems I've done that in literally an hour or 2 hour span. But it took out the low, made a new low. Let's go to the daily actually. Going back down to that Mayo. So this still has room to drop. Anything up is a pullback. So yeah, just look for some pullback, stop hunt highs. If anything, you may be looking for this thing to go against the 15-minute water. If it breaks that 15-minute water, it's going to stop up a little bit higher because here's the trend line it broke. So it may have to go up to test that trend line and resistance for it to then tank back down. So be ready for that. Wait for maybe a stop hunt higher than expected, but we'll be looking for drops. UJ made the new high, consolidate in the zone, and then continued it. So our ultimate goal for it to actually keep going up was right. I still think it's going to keep going up. It's going to keep rising outside of volatility band, and it's going to at least retest this high, which is still 85 pips away. So you guys still have buying room for UJ. This one looks good. Just look for pullbacks down, stop hunts low, and rises, all right? So see what it does here. Right now it's below the stationary 50. On the 15 minutes, we might see a drop down tonight, and then New York session midweek reversal for it to rise back up. GJ. If you guys remember on the 4 hour yesterday, we were talking about how volatility bands, RSI, and the market baseline were all overbought and tight. It's called a squeeze, and when the squeeze happens, essentially price will gradually just start going up slowly but surely, and making its own decisions in a sense. So this is literally all it's done. It's been going up. I don't see any signs of reversal on the 4 hour. Nothing on the daily. Looks like it can keep going up. If anything, stop hunt low, just like it did here yesterday. If you guys want to see what's probably going to happen, what happened here yesterday is it dropped and then rose. You could have bought there, it dropped, and then it rose. You could have bought there. So same thing. Drop, look for the buy, rebuy it. That's what you're going to continue doing. Euro AUD reversed hard. Just like all of them. It was due for some pullbacks. Went up a little bit higher. Made a new high. It only makes sense for once it makes a new high to make a new low. So it's pulling back down. It's going to keep dropping. This 4 hour looks pretty good. And what I'm seeing here is that it's going to keep dropping down towards that 144, that Mayo. All right. So keep looking for those sells. And we'll be able to get some good opportunities with there. But just hold off on it because hold off on it right now. I mean, I do believe it's going to drop, but it still hasn't broke that low. So if anything, where it's at right now, you're going to want it to rise up, and then the most you could do at that short time is sell it right back down to the low for safety precautions, but we'll see how it goes. I believe it's going to actually keep going. So just keep your eye on EA, and that's probably going to be the same thing for GA as well. GA threw a double top, stop on up to the top to the area. It didn't quite break that high yet. this. Come on. Here we go. So right there, hasn't taken out that high. 4 hours divergent. Hasn't broken the stationary 50 or the EMA 50 yet. So your guys are just gonna do what's best. GA looks pretty good right now. If it doesn't break this, guys, it's gonna rise, and it's probably gonna be the same thing for EA. But I would honestly just wait for it to break that Mayo, because that's the 4 hour water. Wait for it to break that Mayo, retest, and then you got all this room. Got all that room. If it decides to drop, that's where it's gonna have all this area. So you're gonna be good. G Chief. Told you guys we were looking for buys. It finally broke out of the wedge up over here. Stop hunted down one last time and eventually broke out of that nasty wedge it was in. So because of that, we had this right, and it whipped right off of the blueberry. So for that, it might be going back down again. We'll be seeing this thing completely go right, to be honest, come right back down to consolidation. Look at the EMAs. The Mayo and the water getting tight. And the Mayo and the water, when they get like this, literally act as barriers. This thing is going to be getting ready to do some consolidation. So buy low, sell high, set your support and resistance zones. I have one here. You could place another one right here. So just be ready. And we'll see how everything goes. But yeah, I'll go over just the same pair again to see what we're doing. Waiting for GU to break that trend line for the drop. Waiting for EU. It broke out of that little bearish pendant it was in, so it's going to be continuing for the drop. AU, possible retest of that high. Throw an M drop. Gold, told you not to play it. U Chief, retest of that Mayo and water right there in the 15-minute for a buy. UCAD looking for pullbacks high for it to possibly continue to drop. UJ looking for continued buys. GJ, stop hunt low buy. EA, stop hunt high drop for a retest. And the same thing with GA is wait for it to break that Mayo on the hour, which is the 4 hour water, for it to then break out towards that 1 hour blueberry. And then G Chief, you're just getting ready to consolidate, so just avoid it. Buy low, sell high. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I forgot to put up that yesterday's one. I realized that as I was putting in the link for this one. I was like, oh shit, I didn't put it in. So I'm gonna sit here until it's done, and I'm gonna put it back on YouTube so you guys can check it out. So does anybody have any questions? What we're looking at? It's pretty. Just be safe today. You know, it's moving reversal coming up, but just be patient. The markets are not like the craziest this week, but there's still opportunities here and there. Nope. Cool. All right, guys. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. And for those of you in my chat, I'll see you in my chat later tonight. And everybody have a great rest of your night. Peace out.